Hello and welcome to this video where we explore factors influencing consumer behavior. It is a part of consumer behavior chapter. Well, what could be the factors influencing consumer behavior? There are a lot of factors influencing how we make decisions. So what would be useful to do to start with would be to categorize them into larger categories to see the bigger picture. One way to categorize that, which is consistent with the literature, would be into four categories: cultural, social, personal, and psychological. However, you could also think of some other ways, adding other dimensions, splitting some, merging some, and so forth. Nonetheless, this is a good basis to start with. So consumer purchases are influenced strongly by all these four categories: cultural, social, personal, and psychological characteristics. Marketeers or brand managers can hardly control such factors. However, they must take them into account. So let's start with cultural factors. They exert a broad and very deep influence on consumer behavior. Culture is the most basic cause of how of persons' wants and their behavior. Human behavior in general is largely learned. For example, children learn basic values, perceptions, wants, and behaviors from their families and other important institutions they take part at. School, or some are home educated, so they might perhaps be more influenced by how they do things at home and other places they go to. It might be sport, clubs, activities, and so forth. Cultural influences may vary greatly from one country to the other. And if we as marketers fail to adjust to these differences, this would result in an ineffective marketing or sometimes a bit embarrassing mistakes. So marketers are always trying to spot cultural shifts as to discover new products, services, and in general new opportunities to offer into the market. Let me give you a few examples. Cultural shift toward greater concern about health has created a huge industry for health and fitness services, a huge industry for organic foods, a huge industry for all these specialists that are titled like health coach, holistic dentist, and so forth, because there is a recognition that people are more health conscious. They are looking into their well-being. They don't want quick results, and it's more like really an investment into yourself. The shift toward informality has resulted in more demand in casual clothing and simpler home furnishing. For example, it's a bit of a joke, but if you wear a suit when you apply for a job and go to interview in Silicon Valley, people won't treat you seriously. It is almost a must to wear casual clothes. What matters is your intellectual ability and not what you wear. Another thing, AI, artificial intelligence, soon looks like they will plan our diets for us, and not only that, they will probably think for us. You can add a lot more, but you get the general idea about the culture. Now, subculture. Well, it's kind of related to culture. However, each culture contains smaller subcultures or groups of people with shared value systems based on common life experiences or perhaps situations. Subcultures may include nationalities, right? So you go to the UK and you find a Greek community, Lithuanian community, American community, and so forth. It can be different religions, right? It can be racial groups or geographic regions. And now, if you go on Meta, for example, you can find all sorts of different groups. People who join particular causes because they might have mental issues, for example, and they join a group. People who are promoting natural immunity might join a group. People who are, for example, fighting against the 5G implementation due to health concerns, they might be promoting yet another community. Or people who are heavy bikers interested in that, they might be promoting cycling around countries. Or people who are doing motorbikes, they can do like their own community. So many subcultures make up important market segments. For example, bodybuilders, bikers, Christians, meditators, those who do yoga, Pilates, and so forth. So basically anything that kind of like helps attract or connect people through particular life experiences, situations, or interest in particular area we have, like maybe political party as well. And social class. Social class can be found in almost every society. Social class members share similar values, interests, and behaviors. And I am going to record a short video for social class because I'd like to talk about this separately. I'd like to compare, for example, like a traditional way we see social class, for example, in the UK, and fairly new classification that is proposed. So let's leave it for another video. Now, social factors. This would be, one of them would be reference groups. Reference groups would serve as direct or indirect point of comparison or reference, informing persons' attitudes and behavior towards something. People are often influenced by reference groups to which they do not belong. For example, an aspirational group is one to which the individual wishes to belong, as when a young football player hopes to someday kind of like replicate or be just as great a football star as Cristiano Ronaldo. Or some of you may want to be similar to Steve Jobs, or maybe Richard Branson, or maybe Elon Musk. Reference groups create pressure to conform. The importance of reference groups tend to be strongest when the product is visible to others whom the buyer respects. If you buy something that is visible to others, such as clothes, cars, phones, and so forth, you might tend to put more thought into this. Family. Family members can strongly influence buying behavior. The family is the most important consumer buying organization in any society. So marketers are deeply interested in what roles and what influence husband, wife, and children play on purchase of the products. Would you not get your parents' advice when buying a house or moving a job or moving to another country? In all, it's documented that women make almost, well, probably would be safer to say something like above 80% of all family purchases and above 70% of all household spending, based on some of the research. So today's woman is chief operating officer of the home. That's how important it is. And now, roles and status. A person belongs to many groups, family, clubs, organizations, to name a few. People usually choose products appropriate to the role and status. For example, if a mother is a brand manager at a company, she would use appropriate attire, wearing, and so forth. In family, she plays the role of wife and mother. At her favorite event, she might be a member of a particular community. So she will buy products that reflect her role. Now let's look at the personal factors. Age and lifestyle, or life cycle, People change the goods and services they buy over their lifetimes. Tastes in food, clothes, furniture, recreation, and so forth are often age-related. Don't we start enjoying wine once we hit around 25 or more? Become interested in meditation in our late 20s and early 30s? Perhaps for women, buy anti-wrinkle creams in our late 20s. However, don't stereotype. Skydiving, for example, can be done by elder people too, 85-year-old. I met someone on a plane, actually, who said their mom was 96 when she was last time driving, right? And it was around 6 months ago when they told me that. However, she said some of her friends are 99 when steering the wheel. So you can see how, obviously, on one hand, a lot of our habits and tastes shift with the age. On the other hand, is very hard to stereotype. So what it means, obviously, it has different implications for us as marketeers. Occupation. Blue-collar workers tend to buy more rugged work clothes, whereas executives buy more business suits. Economic situations. Marketeers watch trends in personal income, savings, and interest rates very carefully, in particular following economic crisis. Most companies have taken steps to redesign, reposition, and reprice their products, in some cases forever. Lifestyle. People coming from the same subculture, social class, and occupation may have quite different lifestyles. Lifestyle, in general, is defined as a person's pattern of living as expressed in his or her psychographics. It will involve particular activities like hobbies, opinions. Lifestyle captures something more than the person's social class or personality. It profiles a person's whole pattern of acting and interacting in the world. Personality and self-concept. Personality will refer to the unique psychological characteristics. Personality is usually defined in terms of traits such as self-confidence, dominance, sociability, autonomy, adaptability, and so forth. The idea is that brands also have personalities, and consumers are likely to choose brands that match their own. For example, Land Rover associated with ruggedness, Apple with excitement, innovativeness, BBC with fairness, Dove with sincerity, Virgin with being fun and sexy. Now, psychological factors. Motivation. A motive, in other words, a drive, is a need that is sufficiently pressing to direct the person to seek satisfaction of the need. Here, it's also important to look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs to understand the basic principle of this, and I will record a separate video on this. Perception. How the person acts is influenced by his or her perception of the situation. Perception is the process by which people select, organize, and interpret information, make sense of it, in order to form a meaningful picture of the world. People are exposed to a large number of stimuli every day. How many on average, you may ask? Well, some research documented that we are exposed between 3,000 and 5,000 advertising messages every day. We might not see even 10, but just because we didn't notice, it doesn't mean we're not exposed to them. Learning. Learning describes changes in an individual's behavior arising from experience. Learning theories say that most human behavior is actually learned. And I will record again a separate video about learning. Beliefs and attitudes. Through doing and learning, people acquire beliefs and attitudes. These, in turn, influence the buying behavior. There are some differences between belief and attitude. Belief is a descriptive thought that a person has about something. Marketeers sometimes tend to correct the beliefs if they are wrong, but it's difficult to do that. Attitude describes a person's relatively consistent evaluations, feelings, and tendencies towards an object or area. Attitude make people liking or disliking things. Attitudes are difficult to change. So a company should try to fix its product into existing attitudes, for example, health conscious, rather than try to change attitudes. So belief is similar to conviction. It is internalized by us when we see, hear, or experience. We hold as if it's true and are well aware of the belief. For example, an individual might believe in God. Attitude is a predisposition to act. A favorable or unfavorable attitude is projected towards events, things, persons. This directs our behavior. Unlike belief, which is well known to the individual, attitude might be more hidden. For example, individual might have developed negative attitude towards God, and this influences his behavior of not visiting religious places. So I hope you found this useful. If you like the content, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the new content released from me. Thank you very much for watching.